The sun was warm that afternoon, casting a golden light over the quiet neighborhood. Birds sang in the trees and children played on the sidewalks with bicycles and jump ropes. Flowers in the yards were bright and blooming and everything seemed peaceful. Maria walked slowly, holding the leash of her small dog, Benny. Benny sniffed the grass at every corner, wagging his tail as if he could feel the calm in the air. Maria enjoyed these moments of peace. She liked seeing her neighbors wave from their porches or tending to their gardens. She always felt safe here. That was until she saw the white van parked strangely across the street. It had no markings, only tinted windows, and the engine hummed quietly. Two men got out. They wore dark jackets, and each had a small badge pinned to his chest. Maria thought the badge looked official, but something about the way they walked made her uneasy. The taller man stepped forward and smiled politely. "Good afternoon, ma'am. We are here to check a complaint about your property," he said in a calm voice. "We just need to look at your car and your documents." "It is very simple," Maria paused. She had no idea what he was talking about. "What complaint? Who are you exactly?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady. She reached for her phone in her pocket. The other man stepped closer. "We are officers. You do not need to worry.
Please cooperate."
"It will be quick," he said. His words sounded polite, but his eyes were cold. Maria felt a sudden chill. "I need to see your identification. Please give me a card or a badge number," Maria said, her voice firmer now. "I will also call the homeowners association to confirm." The taller man frowned and glanced at his partner. "There is no time for that. Rules are rules. You must comply," he said. Maria shook her head. She backed up slightly. Benny growled softly, his ears pressed back. "No, I will not give you anything." "Please leave," she said. Suddenly, the taller man reached out and grabbed her wrist. The grip was tight. Maria pulled back, but the man pushed her. She stumbled slightly on the sidewalk. Benny barked loudly and lunged forward, but the leash kept him from reaching the man. At that moment, Sam stepped out of his house. He had just returned from a short business trip. The quiet afternoon had already been disrupted by the sight of these men. He saw Maria struggling and the white van in the street. He did not hesitate. "Maria, are you okay?" he shouted. The men turned toward him quickly, showing a hint of annoyance. "Stay back," said the taller man. "This does not concern you. It concerns me when someone is hurting my wife," Sam said calmly. His voice carried authority. He had not raised his hands, but there was a tension in his posture. Sam was tall, broad, and his military training showed in the way he stood. The taller man, now irritated, swung his arm and struck Maria across the face. She cried out and fell to the ground. Benny barked even louder. Neighbors peeked from their windows. Some came to the edge of the sidewalk, unsure what to do. Sam moved immediately. He stepped forward with precise movements. The taller man tried to pull back for another strike, but Sam intercepted him. Sam's hands moved quickly, controlling the attacker without causing serious harm. The man stumbled backward, stunned. The second man reached into his jacket, pretending to pull something dangerous. Sam blocked his move with calm precision. He used the smaller man's own momentum to pin him to the ground. Maria's breathing was heavy, but she was conscious. Sam crouched beside her. "You are safe now," he said softly, holding her hand. Benny wagged his tail, though he remained cautious, and the neighbors started calling the police. Within minutes, the sound of sirens filled the air. The taller man and his partner were restrained by Sam and the arriving officers. The van was secured, and the scene became calm again. The officers took statements from Maria and Sam. They asked about the men's badges and behavior. Maria explained clearly how the men had approached her, demanded to see her documents, and had physically hurt her. Sam confirmed every detail. He explained how he had acted to protect her. Paramedics arrived to check Maria. They cleaned her face and made sure she was not seriously injured. Maria held Sam's hand tightly, grateful for his calm presence. Even though she was shaken, she was safe. The police examined the white van. Inside, they found fake badges and documents. They later confirmed that the two men were part of a group that pretended to be homeowners association officers. Their goal was to scare people and collect money unfairly. Neighbors came closer, whispering among themselves. Some thanked Sam quietly, while others hugged Maria. The quiet street had turned dangerous in an instant. But thanks to Sam, no one had been seriously hurt. That evening, Maria and Sam sat on their porch with Benny between them. Maria's face was still red from the blow, but she felt a sense of relief. "I cannot believe this happened in our neighborhood," she said quietly. Sam nodded. "It is rare, but some people try to take advantage. We cannot always predict danger, but we can act when it happens." He gently brushed Benny's fur. Maria looked at Sam. He had been calm, precise, and protective. She had always known he was strong, but now she saw how much he could handle when a situation became dangerous. She leaned against him, feeling safe for the first time since the attack. Over the next few days, news of the incident spread through the neighborhood. People were shocked that someone had tried to trick and hurt a resident in broad daylight. Sam and Maria became quiet leaders, helping neighbors understand what had happened and how to protect themselves. The police continued their investigation. They traced the men to other neighborhoods where similar incidents had occurred. It became clear that the attackers were part of a larger group. Sam and Maria shared what they had learned with the authorities and the homeowners association. Together, they worked on improving safety measures. Despite the fear and shock, the community began to grow closer. People started talking across fences and checking in on each other. Maria realized that even in danger, the strength of one family could help many. Sam's calm actions had prevented tragedy. By the end of the week, the neighborhood felt a little safer. The white van was gone, the men were in police custody, and steps were being taken to ensure the attackers could not return. Sam and Maria returned to their routine slowly. Benny chased butterflies in the yard, and the sun once again filled the street with warmth. Maria held Sam's hand as they walked back inside their house. "Thank you for being there," she said. Sam smiled. "I will always be there. That is what family does." The quiet street had changed, but the love and courage of a family had kept it safe. The day had started like any other, with sunlight and calm, but it had ended with bravery and protection. The memory of the attackers remained, but it was balanced with the certainty that Sam and Maria could face whatever came next, together. The morning after the attack, the neighborhood felt different. People whispered over fences and looked at the empty white van that had been towed away. Sam and Maria walked Benny around the block, noticing the tension in the air. Even though the street looked calm, the memory of the men who had pretended to be officers lingered. Sam's mind was busy. He had served in the Navy for many years, and danger did not scare him, but he understood it. He knew that the men had not acted alone. Someone had planned this attack carefully. He glanced at Maria and saw her worried eyes. He wanted to reassure her. "They made a mistake coming here," Sam said calmly. "We will get answers. They cannot hurt us again." Maria nodded, though she still touched the sore side of her face. "I just do not understand why they would choose our street. We have never had problems with anyone," she said. Sam crouched down and let Benny sniff his hand. "It does not matter. Some people look for easy targets. We were not easy, and we acted fast. That is what counts." The couple returned home and found a note taped to their door. It was small, with messy handwriting. "Stop talking, or next time will be worse." Maria's hand shook as she read it. She wanted to throw it away, but Sam carefully folded the paper and showed it to the police. Detective Reyes came by that morning. She was a calm and professional officer with experience in fraud and scams. She had already started collecting evidence from the van and the men. "This is part of a larger operation," she said. "We have reports of similar attacks in other towns. They use fake badges, fake documents, and intimidation to get money from residents." Maria looked at Sam. "So they are not finished?" she asked. "They will try again if they think it is easy," Sam said. "We have to be careful, but we also have to make sure the neighborhood is ready." Detective Reyes asked Sam and Maria to come to the police station for a formal statement. They agreed. On the way, Sam and Maria noticed neighbors putting small cameras near their homes and locking their gates more carefully. Some residents had already installed doorbell cameras. The community was reacting quickly. At the station, Sam and Maria described everything in detail. They explained how the men had approached Maria, the fake badges, the shove, and the attack. The detectives asked about the van, the route the men had taken, and any details about their appearance. Sam answered calmly, giving precise details about the taller man's movements and the smaller man's attempts to reach into his jacket. Detective Reyes nodded. "Your training helped a lot. You did the right thing. Without your quick action, she could have been seriously hurt." Sam shook his head slightly. "I just reacted. That is what anyone should do to protect family." It does not make me a hero, Maria squeezed his hand. She wanted to say more, but she remained quiet. She understood the truth of Sam's words. He was calm, precise, and protective because he had trained for danger many times in his life. Back home, Maria wanted to rest, but the phone kept ringing. Neighbors called to check if she was okay. The HOA president called to apologize and to explain the steps being taken to prevent future attacks. Sam listened carefully and spoke with clear authority, giving suggestions for safety protocols and warning residents about suspicious behavior. The next day, the police found more evidence. They located security cameras in other neighborhoods that had captured the white van moving from street to street. In some videos, the same men approached houses pretending to be officials. They recorded themselves demanding fines and threatening residents. Sam and Maria watched the footage with Detective Reyes. It was clear that the men were skilled at pretending to be real officers. They wore realistic badges and uniforms, but their actions betrayed their lies. Sam noticed patterns in how they approached homes, which could help predict their next moves. Maria's voice was steady as she spoke to the detective. "We need to warn other neighborhoods. They cannot be allowed to do this again." Detective Reyes nodded. "We are already contacting nearby towns. We will work to stop them." Meanwhile, the threats continued. Maria received another note, this time slipped under the door. The words were larger and more threatening, but Maria remained calm because Sam was with her. He read the note carefully. "They want fear," he said. "We will not give it to them." The couple decided to change their routines for safety. Sam left for work later, came home earlier, and made sure all doors and windows were locked. Maria did not leave the house alone for a while. Benny stayed close to them, sensing their alertness. Sam also started training with the local community. He organized a small group of neighbors to learn about safety and self-defense. Even though he did not want attention, he understood that knowledge could save lives. He demonstrated ways to stay calm, how to call for help, and how to recognize suspicious people. Maria joined in, teaching neighbors about reporting scams, keeping records, and checking IDs. Her calm voice and personal experience made people listen carefully. She shared how the attackers had used fake badges and tried to scare her. She explained how calling for help and staying calm had helped. The investigation took weeks. Police tracked the van to a storage facility in a nearby town. Inside, they found dozens of fake badges, documents, and uniforms. They also discovered phones and computers used to plan attacks. Each piece of evidence built a case against the men. During this time, Sam and Maria became quiet leaders in the neighborhood. People looked to them for guidance and reassurance. The couple organized small meetings to discuss safety, report suspicious activity, and encourage neighbors to watch out for each other. One afternoon, while walking Benny, Sam noticed two unfamiliar men parked at the end of the street. They were watching houses, whispering to each other and taking notes. Sam calmly observed them from a distance. He remembered the attackers' patterns from the videos. He took photos with his phone and sent them to Detective Reyes. Within minutes, the men drove away. Sam explained to Maria that people like this often test neighborhoods before attacking. "We stopped them this time," he said. "That is what matters," Maria nodded. "We cannot live in fear, but we have to stay smart," she said. Over the next few days, the HOA implemented new rules. Any visit from an officer required verification, a real badge, and an official notice. Cameras were installed at the entrances of the neighborhood. Signs warned residents to report suspicious behavior immediately. The community was changing, becoming stronger and safer. Despite the threats and danger, Sam and Maria worked together to rebuild trust and security. They spent evenings walking through the neighborhood, greeting neighbors and checking on small details. Benny ran happily along the sidewalks, sensing that the tension was easing. One evening, Sam sat with Maria on the porch. The sky was pink and gold as the sun set. "The world can be dangerous," he said, "but we are stronger when we face it together." Maria leaned her head on his shoulder. "I feel safe with you," she said softly. Sam smiled and held her hand. "That is all that matters. We protect each other, and we help our neighbors. That is how we make a difference." The neighborhood, once quiet and peaceful, had been tested. The attack could have caused fear and panic, but thanks to Sam and Maria, it had become a story of courage, calm, and preparation. People were beginning to trust each other more, speak across fences, and watch for danger together. The investigation was far from over. The police were closing in on the rest of the group, and the community was alert and prepared. Sam and Maria knew that the work would continue, but they felt ready. Their actions had already saved lives, and their leadership had changed the neighborhood forever. That night, as Benny slept at their feet, Sam and Maria sat quietly. They knew the road ahead would not be easy. Danger could come again, but they also knew they could face it with courage, calm, and careful planning. The quiet street had been tested, but it had survived. The people had survived, and Sam and Maria had proven that love, bravery, and vigilance could protect not only a family but an entire community. The days after the first attack were tense. Sam and Maria knew the men had not acted alone, and they suspected the group was still active. The police had taken the two attackers into custody, but the investigation revealed the group had other members and other plans. Sam woke early one morning and checked the street. The neighborhood was quiet, but his military training kept him alert. He noticed small things: the angle of a parked car, a van moving slowly down the block, a stranger lingering near the community center. He made notes on his phone and sent the information to Detective Reyes. Maria joined him outside, holding Benny's leash. "Do you think they will come back?" she asked, her voice calm but concerned. "They might," Sam said, "but we are ready. We are not alone. Our neighbors are alert, and the police are working on the rest of the group." The community had changed since the attack. Cameras were now installed at every entrance. Motion sensors lit up the streets at night. Neighborhood watch signs reminded people to report any suspicious behavior. Meetings were held at the community center, where Sam and Maria explained the patterns of the attackers and taught residents how to respond safely. At one meeting, Luis, a neighbor, raised his hand. "What if they come back in a larger group?" he asked. Sam nodded. "We prepare for that possibility. We remain calm, we stay together, and we call the police immediately. Our goal is to make sure no one is alone when danger appears," Maria added. "We also need to support each other. Fear makes people act rashly. Calmness keeps everyone safe." One afternoon, Sam received a call from Detective Reyes. The police had traced more vans linked to the fraud ring. They had identified 2 other towns where the same men had threatened residents. Sam knew this meant the group was spreading, trying to intimidate as many people as possible. He told Maria and the HOA president. "They are organized. They have a plan. But we will not let them succeed here." The next day, while walking Benny, Sam noticed 2 men parked near the end of the street. They were looking at the houses, whispering to each other and taking notes. Sam's instincts told him they were scouting the neighborhood. He immediately took photos and sent them to Detective Reyes. He also called a few trusted neighbors. Together, they approached the men carefully, asking them questions. The strangers stammered and quickly drove away. Sam made notes about their vehicle and appearance, adding it to the growing investigation file. Meanwhile, Maria continued her work educating neighbors. She created flyers about recognizing fake badges, calling the police, and reporting suspicious activity. She spoke to small groups at local schools and community centers, teaching children and parents how to stay safe. One evening, a new note appeared at Maria's door. It was larger than before, and the words were written boldly. "Stop interfering or you will regret it." Maria read it calmly and showed it to Sam. "They want us to be afraid," Sam said. "We will not give them that power." They reported the note to the police and kept it as evidence. Detective Reyes assured them that the investigation was moving forward, and the new threats would be taken seriously. The next few weeks brought more discoveries. The police found the group had multiple vans, fake uniforms, and a network of accomplices. They had even rented storage units in several towns where they kept supplies for their attacks. Each new piece of evidence made the case stronger. Sam and Maria worked with Detective Reyes to map out the group's likely next moves. They created a neighborhood alert system. Every family received a message on their phone whenever suspicious activity was spotted. Neighbors agreed to walk together, to look out for each other, and to report anything unusual immediately. The community began to feel stronger. Families that had rarely spoken before now shared meals, watched each other's homes, and discussed safety measures. Maria saw this as a silver lining. Even in danger, people could come together. One afternoon, while Sam worked in his garden, he noticed a young boy about 8 years old trying to sneak past a neighbor's yard. Sam called him over gently. The boy explained that he had seen two men taking notes on houses and wanted to warn the adults. Sam smiled and knelt down. You did the right thing. Always tell an adult if you see something strange. That is how we keep each other safe. He praised the boy and showed him how to take notes without putting himself in danger. Maria watched from the porch, proud of how Sam encouraged the children to be brave but careful. A few days later, the police made a breakthrough. One of the vans had been tracked to a storage unit. Inside, they found a large collection of fake badges, documents, and even recording devices. The storage unit was linked to the men who had attacked Maria. Detective Reyes called Sam to inform him of the discovery. They are building a full operation, she said. We have enough evidence to arrest the other members. Sam nodded. Good work. Make sure the neighborhood is safe before taking action. I will help coordinate if needed. The arrests were planned carefully. The police moved at dawn, taking the remaining members of the fraud ring into custody without incident. News spread quickly. Maria and Sam watched as officers led the suspects away. The street felt calmer, though people remained cautious. The HOA organized a meeting to celebrate the community's resilience. Neighbors shared stories of bravery, support, and quick thinking. Sam and Maria were thanked quietly, but they reminded everyone that the true strength came from the community itself. During the meeting, Maria stood and spoke. This neighborhood faced danger, and we acted together. That is what saved us. We cannot let fear control our lives. We must stay alert, care for each other, and continue to be strong. People nodded, feeling inspired. Luis raised his hand again. Thanks to everyone, we are safer now. We can face challenges together. Sam smiled. Remember, danger may come again, but we will be ready. Calm minds and teamwork make us strong. The neighborhood had changed. Families that once kept to themselves now communicated freely. Children played in groups. Neighbors watched for unusual activity, and cameras recorded everything at key points. The sense of community had grown stronger than ever. Maria and Sam returned home, tired but satisfied. Benny ran ahead, chasing a butterfly across the yard. The sun was low in the sky, casting long shadows. Sam sat on the porch and held Maria's hand. Do you think it is really over? Maria asked. Not completely, Sam said. There will always be people who try to take advantage. But we have shown that we are ready. We will protect our family and our neighbors. That is what matters. Maria leaned against him. I feel safe with you, Benny barked as if agreeing. Sam and Maria smiled. The quiet street had been tested by danger, but the strength of one family and a united community had made it safe again. Evenings passed with calm and purpose. Sam and Maria continued their routines, but they remained vigilant. They checked the cameras, talked to neighbors, and maintained the alert system. The neighborhood had learned that safety required attention, cooperation, and courage. The investigation continued at the police station. Detective Reyes updated them on the progress. The courts were preparing cases against the remaining members of the fraud ring. The men who had attacked Maria faced serious charges. Justice was coming, and the neighborhood would have closure. Meanwhile, the couple focused on healing. Maria's face was bruised but improving. She spent time in the garden, talking to neighbors and helping organize community safety events. Sam trained quietly in self-defense and observation techniques, sharing knowledge with anyone who wanted to learn. The street had faced danger, threats, and fear, but it had survived. The attack had brought the neighborhood together, and people were stronger for it. Sam and Maria knew that courage, calmness, and unity could overcome almost anything. As the sun set one evening, Sam, Maria, and Benny walked down the street. Children waved, neighbors smiled, and the air was calm. The white vans were gone, and the attackers were behind bars. The threat had been real, but so was the strength of the family and the neighborhood. Maria looked at Sam and said softly, "We have done more than protect ourselves. We have shown everyone what courage can do." Sam squeezed her hand. "And we will keep doing it, together." The quiet street had been tested, and it had grown stronger. Danger had come, but bravery, care, and preparation had prevailed. And Sam and Maria knew that no matter what happened next, they were ready. The weeks after the arrests felt calmer. But Sam and Maria knew the danger had not completely disappeared. Even though the main attackers were in custody, the investigation revealed that other members of the group might still be at large. Sam remained alert. His military training kept him focused, and he watched the neighborhood carefully. One sunny afternoon, Sam noticed a strange car parked at the end of the block. The windows were tinted and two men inside were watching houses. Sam recognized the behavior immediately. It was scouting. He motioned to Maria and explained quietly, "We have visitors. They are checking the street. Be calm and stay inside." Maria nodded, holding Benny close. Her face had healed from the first attack, but she still felt cautious. "What should we do?" she asked. "We observe and document," Sam said. "We do not confront. We call the police and alert the neighbors." He grabbed his phone and snapped pictures. He noted the license plate, the make of the car, and the time it had appeared. Then he sent the information to Detective Reyes, explaining what he saw. Maria helped by watching the movements of the strangers and writing notes. The couple decided to gather the neighbors for a safety briefing that evening. By late afternoon, several families gathered at the community center. The room was full of people who wanted to learn how to protect themselves. Sam stood at the front. "We have seen suspicious activity today," he said. "We do not know their intentions, but we must remain alert. Do not panic. Do not confront anyone alone. We work together and call the police at the first sign of trouble." Maria added, "We have made changes to our neighborhood. Cameras are up. Motion sensors are active. We know how to watch for unusual behavior. Everyone here can help keep the community safe." A few neighbors asked questions. One woman asked what to do if someone approached her at the door claiming to be an official. Sam explained clearly, "Ask for identification. Do not hand over any information or money. Call the police immediately. Do not argue or resist physically unless absolutely necessary. Safety comes first." Luis, one of the neighbors who had been helpful before, raised his hand. "Do we need to organize patrols?" Sam nodded. "Yes, small groups can walk the streets at different times. We must remain visible. The attackers often avoid neighborhoods that appear alert and connected." The community agreed. Teams were formed to walk the streets in pairs or small groups. They checked each other's homes, communicated constantly, and shared updates through a group messaging system. Maria helped organize schedules and shared safety tips for children and the elderly. That night, Maria and Sam returned home. Benny ran ahead, sniffing around the yard. Sam checked the cameras and motion sensors. Everything was functioning perfectly. The street looked quiet, but Sam knew appearances could be deceiving. The next morning, the strange car returned. This time it parked slightly closer to the houses. Sam noticed it from his kitchen window. He grabbed his phone and recorded the movements while alerting neighbors. The men inside were studying the street carefully, taking notes. Sam called Detective Reyes immediately. "They are back," he said. "We need support. They are not alone this time." Within minutes, several police vehicles arrived. Officers spread out along the street, approaching the car cautiously. The men inside tried to flee, but the police blocked their escape. The suspects were arrested without incident. Maria and Sam watched from the porch. Relief washed over them, but they remained cautious. "It is not over until all members of the group are caught," Sam said. Detective Reyes approached them. "Thanks to your observation and quick action, we stopped them before anyone was hurt. The investigation is almost complete. These men will face serious charges." The arrest brought a sense of safety back to the neighborhood. People went about their daily routines with more confidence. Children played freely, neighbors spoke across fences, and the streets once again felt calm. Maria noticed that the community had grown stronger than before. Families who had rarely interacted now shared meals and helped each other with daily tasks. The fear that had once held the neighborhood hostage was replaced by trust and cooperation. Sam and Maria continued to play an active role. Sam trained volunteers in basic safety, observation, and response techniques. Maria organized workshops for residents to learn how to report suspicious behavior and protect their families. Their combined efforts created a community that was prepared, united, and resilient. One afternoon, Maria received a call from a local school. They asked her to speak to students about safety and awareness. She accepted, wanting to teach children how to be careful and confident. Sam accompanied her, demonstrating simple safety techniques and showing how observation could prevent danger. The children listened carefully, asking questions and practicing what they learned. Later, the neighborhood held a celebration to honor their collective efforts. The HOA organized a small event with food, games, and speeches. Sam and Maria were recognized quietly for their leadership, but they reminded everyone that the strength came from the community working together. Luis stood up and addressed the group. "We faced danger and we acted. We supported each other, watched each other, and prevented harm. That is true courage, Maria smiled. We must continue to watch out for one another. Danger may appear again, but we know how to respond. Courage is not being fearless. It is taking action despite fear. Sam added, our neighborhood is stronger now because we faced the threat together. Safety is a team effort. Each person here contributes to keeping everyone safe. As the celebration ended, Sam and Maria walked home together. Benny ran happily ahead, chasing leaves and small birds. The street was quiet, bathed in the warm light of the setting sun. That evening, Sam and Maria sat on their porch watching the neighborhood. The cameras blinked quietly. Motion sensors lit up the entrances, and the streets appeared calm. Yet they remained vigilant. They had learned that safety required constant attention, preparation, and cooperation. Maria leaned on Sam's shoulder. It feels different now, she said. The neighborhood is alive in a way it was not before. People care for each other, Sam nodded. Yes, we turned fear into action. We turned danger into unity. That is how we protect what matters. Benny barked softly, running to the edge of the yard before returning. Sam laughed quietly. Even Benny senses the change, he said. In the following days, the last members of the group were tracked down and arrested. Court dates were set and the legal process began. The neighborhood could finally breathe without fear of unexpected threats. Sam and Maria continued their routines, but with new confidence. They walked the streets together, checking cameras, talking to neighbors, and observing the community. The neighborhood had been tested, but it had emerged stronger and more united. Maria worked in the garden, smiled at neighbors passing by, and continued to educate others about safety. Sam maintained vigilance, taught self-defense classes, and ensured that every family knew how to protect themselves. The quiet street that had once been shaken by fear now reflected courage, preparation, and trust. Danger had appeared, but it had been faced head-on. Sam and Maria had led by example, showing that love, vigilance, and teamwork could overcome even the most serious threats. One evening, as the sun set, Sam and Maria sat quietly on the porch. The air was calm and Benny lay at their feet. Maria held Sam's hand and said, "We have done something important. We protected more than just ourselves. We protected everyone here." Sam nodded. "Yes, and we will continue to do so. Courage and care never end. They grow when people act together." The neighborhood had survived the test. The attackers had been stopped, the streets were safe, and the community had grown stronger. Sam and Maria knew that life could bring unexpected challenges, but they also knew that courage, preparation, and unity would always protect them and their neighbors. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the street. The quiet neighborhood, once threatened, now stood as a symbol of resilience, strength, and the power of community. Sam, Maria, and Benny walked inside, ready to face whatever came next, knowing they were prepared and that they had each other. Months passed since the last members of the fake HOA group were arrested. The neighborhood had changed in every possible way. New flowers grew in the gardens, children played on the streets, and people smiled more often. The fear that once lived in everyone's mind had slowly faded away. Sam and Maria enjoyed this peaceful time. Every morning they walked with Benny along the quiet streets. The air felt fresh and the sound of birds filled the neighborhood. Sam would greet the neighbors who waved from their porches. Maria often stopped to talk and ask if anyone needed help. Their bond with the community had grown deep. One morning, as Sam and Maria were walking, they noticed a moving truck parked near the corner house. A new family was moving in. The father, a tall man with short hair, waved at Sam. The mother smiled warmly, holding a small child in her arms. Sam walked up and offered his hand. "Welcome to the neighborhood," he said. "I am Sam, and this is my wife, Maria." The man shook his hand. "Thank you. I am Daniel, and this is my wife, Lena. We are happy to be here." Maria smiled. "It is a nice place. The people here care for each other. If you need anything, do not hesitate to ask." Daniel nodded. "We heard this community is very safe now. I read about how some brave people stopped a criminal group here." Maria looked at Sam and smiled softly. Everyone helped. We all worked together. After helping the new family unload boxes, Sam and Maria returned home. As they sat on the porch, Maria said, "It feels good to see new families coming in. It means people trust this place again." Sam nodded. "That is the sign of real peace. People only move into places where they feel safe." In the following days, life continued smoothly. Sam worked on small repair projects for neighbors, fixing fences and setting up security cameras. Maria spent time with the local children, teaching them gardening and helping with school projects. Benny always ran around happily, watching over everyone like a furry guardian. One afternoon, Maria received a call from Detective Reyes. She put the phone on speaker so Sam could hear. "Good afternoon, Maria," Reyes said. "I wanted to inform you that the case is officially closed. The court sentenced all members of the group to prison. They will not bother anyone again." Maria felt a wave of relief. "Thank you, Detective. It means a lot to us." Reyes replied, "You and Sam did more than anyone else could have done. Your quick thinking saved many people. I hope you both can finally rest." After the call ended, Sam leaned back on his chair. "It is finally over," he said. "No more looking over our shoulders," Maria smiled. "Yes, but we learned something important. We learned how strong people can become when they work together." That evening, the neighborhood gathered again, but this time it was not for safety or fear. It was for celebration. The HOA organized a small festival in the park. There were lights, music, and food stalls. Children played, adults talked and laughed, and everyone felt a deep sense of pride. Sam and Maria arrived together. People greeted them warmly. Luis, who had become one of Sam's close friends, came over with a wide smile. "You two are heroes," he said. Sam shook his head. "No heroes. Just people doing what needed to be done," Maria added. "Heroes are all around us." Every person here stood up for one another. The music started and laughter filled the park. Maria danced with a few of the children while Sam helped cook at the grill. Benny lay near the food table hoping for a treat. As the night grew darker, the HOA president, Mrs. Hill, took the microphone. "This neighborhood has seen hard times, but we came through stronger. We learned courage, trust, and kindness. We learned that together we can protect what we love. Let us thank the people who showed us what true community means." Everyone clapped, cheering for Sam and Maria. Maria felt shy but happy. She looked around at all the smiling faces and saw hope everywhere. After the speeches, fireworks lit the sky. Bright colors burst above the houses, reflecting in the eyes of children who cheered with joy. Sam stood beside Maria, watching the colors fade into the night sky. "This is what we fought for," he said softly. "Peace and happiness for everyone." Maria nodded. "And we will keep it that way." When the festival ended, Sam and Maria walked home under the stars. The streetlights glowed softly and the houses looked peaceful. Benny walked between them, wagging his tail. At home, Maria made tea and they sat together on the porch. The night air was cool. Sam looked thoughtful. "You know, Maria, all this made me realize something. I used to think strength was only about fighting, but it is also about protecting, guiding, and caring. You showed me that," Maria smiled. "And you showed me that courage is not about never being afraid. It is about standing strong even when fear tries to stop you." Benny barked once as if agreeing with them. They laughed together. In the following weeks, Sam and Maria continued helping others. They started a small neighborhood program where veterans, police, and families worked together to share skills. They taught safety, teamwork, and respect. Children learned discipline and kindness. Adults learned confidence and awareness. The program grew quickly. Nearby neighborhoods invited them to share their knowledge. Soon, Sam and Maria found themselves traveling to other towns to teach community safety. People respected them for their calm and honest way of guiding others. Everywhere they went, they shared one message: strength comes from unity. One day, Sam received a letter from the mayor's office. It was an invitation to attend a city event that honored citizens who made a difference. Sam and Maria attended together. The mayor thanked them for their service and presented them with a plaque that read, "For courage, leadership, and dedication to community safety." Maria felt tears of pride in her eyes. Sam smiled quietly. He did not seek recognition, but it felt good to know their work mattered. After the ceremony, they returned home. Their neighbors welcomed them back with cheers and warm hugs. Luis came running with Benny, who had been playing in his yard. That night, Sam stood in the backyard looking up at the stars. Maria joined him. "What are you thinking about?" she asked. Sam answered softly. "About how far we have come. About how peace always feels earned. We went through fear, but we ended with hope." Maria leaned on his shoulder, "And we will protect that hope. Always." They stood quietly for a long time, enjoying the calm. Benny lay beside them half asleep. The house behind them glowed with warm light, and the sounds of laughter from nearby houses filled the air. The neighborhood, once shaken by false authority and fear, was now a place of strength and friendship. People looked out for one another. The lessons learned from those dark days stayed alive in everyone's hearts. Sam knew that no matter what challenges came in the future, they were ready. He had faced storms before, but this time he had something greater than skill. He had a united community. As dawn broke, golden light spread across the rooftops. Maria handed Sam a cup of coffee, and together they watched the sun rise over their peaceful street. The world felt calm. The danger was gone. What remained was courage, kindness, and the unbreakable bond between people who refused to give up on each other. Sam smiled and said quietly, "This is what we fought for. This is home." Maria nodded with a gentle smile. "Home, safe and strong," Benny barked happily as if agreeing. Chasing a bird that flew past, the world moved on. But the story of courage and unity in that small neighborhood would be remembered for years to come. It would remind everyone that no matter how dark times become, good people standing together can always bring back the light.